Hi, my name's Cecilia Puna, and welcome to this episode of Brave New Women. All around the world, there are amazing, ordinary women doing extraordinary things. Brave New Women is about giving those women a platform and a voice, and it's about changing the way that women are perceived. And it's a way of inspiring all of us to do the things that we've always wanted to do. This is the third in the series of interviews with women who work in conservation in Latin America. And I am so pleased to be talking to Marisi López. So Marisi is from Corrientes in the northeast of Argentina. She has a degree in public relations, which is not what you'd expect, but in fact, she works in conservation. So in 2005, she joined the Tompkins Conservation team in order to work on the Iberá Park project. Over the years, she has taken on a variety of roles that have given her a comprehensive view of the project, and she currently leads the process of opening and donating the various tourist gateways and public use areas to the park, and generates strategic alliances with local politicians. She is responsible for liaising with the press, the public, and community leaders. So welcome, Marisi.
Thank you very much. Hello.
And thank you also for agreeing to do the interview in English. And we've got Maria Cristina, who's on the line as well, who, she may jump in if we need her to do any translating.
Yes,
so welcome,
please.
Welcome, MC.
Thank you.
Marisi, could you tell us a bit about the Iberá Park project? So when did it start? How did it start? What's the Tompkins Conservation team?
Okay. The Tompkins Conservation, the Tompkins, they are Doug and Chris Tompkins, arrived in Corrientes in the end of the 19th. And they start buying some land around Iberá Park and try to make a national park to donate all those lands to the state and work with the people in the field, with the neighbors and the communities around the park, trying to make them understand the importance of the conservation and the great biodiversity that Iberá has.
Why Iberia? Why was it particularly that area that they concentrated on?
Because they found in Iberá a lot of biodiversity, a lot of challenge, because we lost a lot of the species in Iberá, and Doug thought that we can rewild the species that we have lost and make a great park again. Back to the wild nature that we used to have in Corrientes and in Argentina. We lost, for example, the jaguar and the giant otter and a lot of other animals. And when he first flew over the Iberá, he saw as the South African areas in South America. He said, that looks South Africa, but it's South America with their property, animals, and landscapes. And so they start this dream to make the biggest national park in Argentina and the most complete park in Argentina with all the species.
When they said it looked like South Africa, do you mean that it was very like a desert?
No, very rich in landscapes and in species, in animals, in biodiversity. The landscapes of Iberia are very similar to the landscapes in South Africa, like the deserts, but with a lot of trees and different landscapes. And he imagined those landscapes with a lot of animals like South Africa, and he thought this is our challenge to rewild this place that has been hunted and has been the animals has lost, and he thought, well, this is our challenge and our job here to rewild the place and make the people feel proud about the place and about the earth and about the biodiversity. So we start working in that model, and we call the model Fuel Nature. In Spanish is producción de naturaleza. In English is like full nature of production of nature. I don't know if it works in English as well as Spanish. And it's a production because we talk about generate a place and generate local jobs and proud, and we work in four ejes. How do you say, María Cristina? Como 4 ejes o 4 pilares, 4 patas de algo.
Oh, it's like it has 4 foundational ideas.
Yes, exactly. 4 foundational ideas. It's like protected areas, could be national or provincial parks, a very complete ecosystem with all the species. So we have to make rewilding from some species. We talk about tourism because if you have a production, you need benefits, economic benefits. So this production has the economic benefits in tourism. So all the people who wants to go to Iberá to see this biodiversity live their incomes or the money in the towns near the park. And the 4 idea is like the communities. We work with the communities around the park because those peoples are the very first line in the fire line, are the first that they can receive these benefits about the tourism. Is that clear?
Absolutely. Tell me a bit about the people living around the park. What were they doing before the park was there?
The area is like you have cattle and a lot of people working with cattle, but they are unfortunately the towns around the park are the most humble and most poor in the country. They have this beautiful place and biodiversity, but they are very poor. They don't have industries or they don't have work enough for all the people. So when they discover that they can work because of the park and with the park or in the park, they found a new economy for the towns. Now they can work in a place to receive tourism in a lodge, in a hotel, or they can be a guide, tourist guides, or naturalistics, or the person who shows the birds. We have a lot of birds in Iberá. Or they are cooks and they make typical cook for tourism, or they make handicraft, artesanías, handicraft to sell the tourism. So all a new economy was born because of the park, the Iberá National Park.
Can you think of an example of a person that whose life has been completely changed by the park?
Yes, I have a lot of examples, fortunately, with name and surname, but there is one that I always tell the story because it's a beautiful example, it's a beautiful story. It's a girl, a woman, her name is Reina, in English is Queen, in Spanish is Reina, and Reina is a cook, is a mother of 3 girls, and every season, in the past time, he had to go to other place in Buenos Aires, very far away from Corrientes, from their place, to cook in a hotel. For 3 or 4 months, he had to move herself to cook in a hotel and leave their children. And now, because of the park, because of Iberá, she lives in a very little town called Concepción del Jaguarete Corá, a name in Guarani. The language that we have here is Guarani. And Reina lives in that town, in Concepción. And now, because of he's a neighbor of the park, she can stay in her town, cook for the tourism, for the tourists that go to the park, and she can work from her house with her girls and make typical foods, and everyone wants to go to Reina's house. And now she's famous. She has a wait list because there are a lot of people who want to go to Reina's house, and she cooks very, very well, delicious meals typical from here, and she shows her meals in TV, and now she's famous. And she told that she went to this place in Buenos Aires called Mar del Plata when she used to go to cook in a hotel, but now she went last year with her children just for holidays, for 15 days, just for holidays. And it's very, very beautiful, the story. It made me feel so happy to hear this, because this is the change that we are looking for, the change of lives. And Reina had changed her life, and now she feels happy and proud of Iberá, and proud of her house, and proud of her meals. This is a story I like very much.
Yeah, that's a fantastic story. And for people who don't know Iberá, could you describe what it's like, what the actual area is like?
Yes, it's amazing. It's not because I am from here, but it's very nice place. It's a place that many people can't imagine. It's an unexpected place, because you heard about the northeast of Argentina, and you can imagine that it's very heat, very hot. Very heat,
very hot.
Very hot, and humid, and with a lot of bugs and insects and mosquitoes. And once you arrive to Iberá, everything is green, and you have a very different landscape. You have forest and rivers and lagoons, and you have deserts and a lot of birds. We have more than 350 kind of birds. So all the time we are looking something. And we have pampas deers and giant otters and capybaras, a lot of capybaras in the middle of the road, and caimans. And now we have jaguars and giant anteaters and marsh deers. It's full of life. Iberá is a place that is full of life in everywhere. You can go by car or by canoa, by boat, by horse, and all the time there are something around you. Some sounds, or someone's flying or walking. All the time you see a lot of life, and this is the most characteristic thing of Iberá.
And has that changed over the years? You said that the project is to rewild the national park. What's been the process of rewilding? How was it before, and how is it now?
Yes, it changed a lot, but a good change. Years ago, in the 80s, Iberá was very hunted. All the animals in Iberá were very hunted, and we lost a lot of species because of that. But then in 1983, the politicians in Corrientes made a law that was prohibited. Prohibited. So, thank you. This law was to prohibit hunting. They can't hunting, and they can't hunting anymore. So that helps to the species, to the animals, and they made a reserve, a natural reserve in Iberá in 1983. So the oldest hunters convert themselves in park rangers. They pass to hunt the species to protect the animals. So that was very, very good idea here in Corrientes. So when the Tompkins Conservation arrived to Corrientes, already passed, and they saw with good eyes, like, well, here in Corrientes, they have good ideas because they could stop hunting and they could convert the hunters in park rangers. So I want to work here, said Doug in that moment. And well, the animals, the population of animals start growing, and then we start rewilding a lot of species that we had lost. So, but that is not the only change that I can see in the years. We can see also a change in people. I think that we rewild people too, because now the people has other conscience, other thoughts about the conservation, about the benefits of have national parks around their cities. And we could open more public gates, public access to the Iberá. 20 years ago, there were just one place to go to see these landscapes and species in Iberá. And it's a little town called Colonia Carlos Pellegrini. But now you have 8 different access to go to Iberá, and each access is relations with a town. So we have 8 towns that can have benefits about tourism. So there are 8 towns, and we are working to have 10 towns that their economies are based in tourism of nature.
And how has the park changed physically?
The park now has more wildlife. We can see more wildlife because if you have an access with park rangers that protect the area, the fauna, the animals are relaxed because nobody is gonna hunt them. So they can, you can go and see a lot of wildlife than years ago you couldn't. It's a very, very good change, and I can see myself the change. I am working with the Rewilding Foundation from more than 16 years now, and so I can see the whole process from the very beginning and from now. And now you can see more wildlife in the Iberá Park, and you can see more people working because of the park.
Tell me about the why it's so important to reintroduce the predators, so the jaguars and the giant otter. Why is that so important?
Yes, it's important because we need to have a complete and functional ecosystem. And the ecosystem is just functional if it is complete. So we need to have the top predator, like the jaguar, and we lost the top predator. So we are now bringing back, rewilding the jaguar. And the jaguar is the top predator of the ecosystem. If the jaguar is not here, we have a lot of the other levels of animals in the ecosystem, like capybaras. We have a lot of capybaras because no one hunts capybaras, no one eats capybaras in the nature. So the top predator regulates all the ecosystems and eats the capybaras necessary to have a balance. The capybaras and caimans and other. And if we have this balance, I don't know if it's the word in English, you don't have a natural balance in the whole ecosystem, because if you have more capybaras, the more capybaras eat a lot of other things, and the grass can't grow, and the insects in the grass can live, and all the ecosystem is not working. So in the earth, the top predator is the jaguar. So we are bringing back, rewilding the jaguar. And in water, the top predator is the giant otter. So we are working with giant otter too, to have a giant otter again here in Iberá. And in the air is important, for example, the macaw, the red macaw, because it's the one who generates more forest. He eats some seeds for native trees, and then the macaw flies and deposit the seeds in other place, and the forest can recover. So everyone in the ecosystem is important, and we need everyone, all the animals, to have a balance, nature balance.
And how far are you along in the process, for example, in reintroducing the jaguars and the giant otters? How successful has that been?
Yes, we have. Yes, we are in the very good place in the process, but it's not the end. We start a lot of years ago. We start with the giant anteater in 2007. Then we go with pampas deer and with a lot of animals, and now we have pampas deers, we have giant anteater, we have red macaw, jaguars, and giant otters. And we are in a good moment because we have success in all of these projects. But we are in the moment that, well, now they have to be more, the population has to grow and has to reproduce themselves. And slowly we can go apart, and then the nature grow themselves again. But we are in the middle of the process. We are just we are celebrating that we have jaguars again, and red macaws and giant otters, but this is not the end. We are in the middle of the process.
Mm-hmm. And how is the national park funded?
Funded?
Yeah.
Yes, the National Park Iberá was funded in the lands that the Tompkins Conservation donate to the state. The Tompkins Conservation has bought a lot of acres. In Spanish, they are in hectareas. There are more than 160,000 hectares. I don't know.
Hectares.
Yes, hectares. And we work in this place before donate, and then about 4 or 5 years ago, we donate everything to the state. So now it's a national park. But this national park, Iberá, goes to complete a provincial park that we have already had in the province. So now we have a great Iberá Park that has a little part, or a part that is national park, and other part that is provincial park, all together, and we work all together as just one great park. It has more than 700,000 hectares.
Gosh.
One of the biggest of the country.
Wow. And it sounds to me that the sorts of things that you're doing in Iberá are actually pretty innovative. What is the relationship between you and other national parks in Argentina, in Latin America, around the world? Is there a lot of discussion between you about what are the best ways of doing things, the best practices?
We work a lot together with National Park Administration here in Argentina, and with the provincial park also. And they do a great job. Actually, Argentina has a lot of national parks, around 40, and a great story about creation national parks. More than 100 years in creation national parks, and very beautiful national parks. But I believe that now we are in a different process, in a different concept of national parks. We used to create in the past just to conserve the biodiversity. But now we have to make another step. We have to go forward a little more. It's not just to conserve, it's active conservation, is do a little more, because if we have to just conserve, it's very little that we have. We lost a lot, so we have to make an active conservation to recuperar, to have again, to
recover. Mm-hmm.
To recover landscapes and species that we have lost, and to do an active conservation, and to open the parks. The parks is not just for conservation with closed doors. Mm-hmm. Now the parks have to be open parks with open doors, to have a lot of visitors and to make a new economy for the people around and for the towns around the park. If the park is just to conserve with closed doors, it's not generating a new economy. And we need to live because of the park, and we need to live because of that new economy that creates, because we have a beautiful place to show. So we have to rethink our model and make national parks with two goals: to conserve, to protect, and to generate a new economy for all the people around the park.
And how many visitors are you getting pre-COVID?
Yeah. Yes. In Iberá, we were around 50,000 visitors
a year.
And we are able to have more. It's a place to have. It's not mass tourism. It's just tourism of nature with small groups and looking for a very connected relation with nature, in silence, to appreciate all the places and the animals. So it's not a mass destination, but we can have a lot more tourism. We have. I'm sorry. We can expect more visitors to increase our tourism.
In France, people get very worried about the wolves being reintroduced. Do people get worried about the jaguars?
At first, they get a little suspicions and a little, like fear, because they don't know. But now that we work a lot with people and show the benefits to have jaguars, and show the example that we have here near in Brazil, in Pantanal, that there are a lot of ecotourism because of the jaguars. And we went to Pantanal with some people, with press, with politicians, to show them how Pantanal can have this tourism with jaguars. They lost this fear, and now they are very, very proud about having jaguars, and about being the first province in Argentina to have free jaguars, and free baby jaguars was born here in Corrientes, in Iberá. So nowadays there's no one with fear, and everyone's supply and wants jaguars in the fields, and they are very fun about the jaguar stories in the media, and with the videos of the baby jaguars and the mother, and nowadays they are not fear anymore.
And Marisi, you have a degree in public relations. So how did you start working in conservation?
Yes, actually, I never imagined that I work in conservation or in the field, because I am a girl of the city. I was born in the capital of Corrientes, and then I went to Buenos Aires, to the capital of the country, to have my degree in public relations. And I am a city girl, so I couldn't imagine. But in 2004, at the end of 2004, there were a person who called me and asked me if I can work with him like an assistant, doing reports and helping him with the translation, because he was the man who worked with Douglas Tompkins, and he needs someone who translate and work with him. And well, I started like an assistant. I thought that was just for a moment, for temporary work. Actually, I didn't want to work because I was in a bad moment. I have just returned to Corrientes to live, and my dad has passed away in that moment. At the end of 2004, I was very, very sad and bad. And well, I went to his office to say, thank you, but I don't want to work right now. I have my head in other things. And he gave me a book, The 10 First Years of Tompkins Conservation in South America. And in that moment, I saw the book and I said, wow, I can't lose this opportunity. This is, I want to be part. I don't know doing what, but I want to be part of this, because it was so great, the proposal, that I couldn't say no. My husband wanted to pick up me after the interview and asked me, was too hard to say no of this work? And I said, no, I say yes. But, no, I say yes, because it's very, no, you can't believe this work, and this is for me, I want to be part. And I didn't know anything about nature and about nothing. And for the beginning, it was difficult for me, because I was working beside a very powerful people that knew a lot, a very great biologists or vets or park rangers, and they knew everything about nature, about conservation, and I didn't knew anything. And I started to learn and study, but I learned working beside them, and in every travel that I made with them in the car, and hearing about them. And well, now I know something, not everything, but I'm very, very happy of saying yes in that moment, because it was a big opportunity. Worked beside Doug and Chris Tompkins and learned about them, and now work with my current chief. There is a girl, a biologist, very, very good biologist, and I can learn a lot from her. So that changed my life too.
Mm. Yeah, so you went from being in a position of being very, very down and a very dark place to...
Yes, I was the last assistant. And then I start doing more things and more and learning and go to the field. And I, in every place that I could be, I try to stay, because for example, they have to look for a giant cheetah, a baby giant cheetah in another province. And I say, I can go, and I want to go. So I ride my truck for 10 hours, to another province to look for a baby anteater and learn about anteaters. And then we have to do a camp and translocate pampas deers from one place to another place. And I say, I can go and I can manage all the production of the location, the food, the permissions. I can do that. So I go with the team for 10 days, camping in a place, and I learning everything in my
notebook,
writing everything and trying to listen to everything and learn. And well, this was my academy, my way to learn.
Mm. And Marisi, what's been the most difficult thing you've had to do in your job? What's been the hardest thing, the biggest challenge?
Yes, it was difficult the moment that at the first beginning, the people in Corrientes had a lot of suspicions and fear about Tompkins and why this guy from the States wants to come here. They want to steal the water, and they are a spy. There are a lot of stories, and it was difficult being in Corrientes, like Correntinian person, and all the people were talking like this about this project. And I was in the middle trying to explain them that no, it's good. He wants to conserve and make national parks. No, now you are not an Argentinian anymore. You sold your soul to the States and a lot of things. And it was a difficult process. We had all the people, the press, the politicians, the friends, the neighbors, all the people against me. And it was difficult. But Doug always said, they criticize more, you have to work more. At the end of the day, just what we do is what showed them that they are wrong. We have to pass those moments, because were several years, and then we could show them that they were wrong, and the national park now is real, and the rewilding projects now are real, and new gates, public gates for all the people and for free are real. But we have to work, and we have to put the face in that moment. It wasn't nice.
Mm-hmm. And what's been the most rewarding moment?
Oh, there were a lot. There was a lot of beautiful moments, but I think that one of them that I always remember is the moment that we received the first jaguar in the province. We worked a lot of rewilding the jaguars, and Corrientes is a province that has lost the jaguars for more than 70 years. So a lot of time we didn't have jaguars in the province. So we work a lot with people, with communities, with permissions. This is my job too, to get the permissions from the politicians, to make the laws, to try to make the laws necessary to have the jaguars again in Corrientes, back in Corrientes. So the moment that we received the first jaguar, the very first jaguar, that is called Tobuna, is a female and came from a zoo in Buenos Aires. And that moment we were a lot of trucks in like a caravan is a word? A lot of trucks. Yeah. And in one of these trucks was Tobuna in a jail. No, it's not a jail.
In a cage.
In a cage. So we were in a caravan, a lot of trucks, and Tobuna in a cage, and was the Tompkins and some politicians that were together, and the press and the neighbors and a lot of people in those trucks through in a little town called San Miguel in Corrientes. Then we went to the lagoon, and we go in a very big boat with Tobuna to the island, and we open the gate that Tobuna go to this place in the island, and all the people say, hi, I can't believe, and the children in the town was expecting Tobuna with all their faces painting like a jaguars, like little jaguars, with balloons, with a song. Someone was playing guitar with a song made for Tobuna, and was like a parade, and all the people in the town say, hi Tobuna, we are waiting for you, we are very happy. And that moment was, wow, this is the beautiful moment with the people, with the authorities, with the press, with us, all together working for that. In that moment was like, I always remember. And we have beautiful pictures about the children painting, and have the the prints in their arms. Very, very beautiful.
Wow, that just sounds, I mean, it just sounds so incredibly exciting the first time that a jaguar comes to the national park. It's just incredible.
Yes, it's incredible. Then Tobuna is too old now, but is still alive. And we received her daughter, that is called Tanya. And Tanya, another male, has babies. So the moment that we discovered that they have two beautiful babies in Iberá was, wow, another moment of celebration, of team works, and said, well, this is our goal, and we are now look at the achievements.
Mm-hmm. Could you just tell me a little bit about the Tompkins? Who were the Tompkins? And
who was him?
Yeah.
He was an incredible man, a great man with very, very focused on his ideas, his ideal. Very difficult sometimes to work with him because he was very sure about what he wants. But the end, he always has the right, has
the vision.
The vision, yes. Sometimes we have argued with him, and now I can say, well, he was right in this also. But he was a man with strong vision, very active, workaholic. He was working the whole day, the whole weekend, the whole week. And sometimes I said, well, I have family, I want to go home with my family. But I appreciate how he was working, the way that he made us, the team, work like him. And he was very passionate about his vision and his goals. And Chris is his wife, Chris Tompkins, is great too. She's so kind and so clever. She's a very, very smart person who always knows what to do in different moments. She always has the vision, very, very power and very, very clear. And well, they are our leaders, and we follow their ideas. I don't know what else, but he was a very loved person about nature. He grew up in the nature. He was a climbing man.
He climbed, yeah.
Yes, and he used to make every sport in nature that you can imagine: climb, skiing, flying, trekking. Very connected with nature, very, very simple to live. He can sleep in a sleeping bag in every place, in the floor. He can pass all the day without food because he didn't need food. He was just so focused in his work that everything was secondary in his life. And very he taught us that way of work, that passion to work, and he enjoyed very much to talk with people of the places, with local peoples, and drink mate with them and listen to local people and say, well, to revalorize the culture of the places, not just here in Iberá, the same in Chile, the same in Patagonia, in every place. He discovered some people from the local places, and he encouraged them to fertilize their culture and their customs. That is very, very nice to see in a person.
Mm. And Marisi, I mean, it's just so encouraging to hear stories like that and about places that are becoming as they were before, that are being protected. And it's not just about the place, it's about the wildlife, it's about the people, about everything is coming together to work well and to protect the earth, really. If people who are listening would like to help, how would they, is there anything that they can do? How can people help?
Yes, of course, they can help in different ways. We have a website you can look for and find different ways of helping. For example, donate if you want. We are a foundation that we can work because of donations. We have donation from the States, from the Europe, sometimes from Argentina too. But it's very important, as well as the donations, of course, the conscience that we can create, the message that we can give to the people. And so it's important to know about the work, about the importance to have the jaguars, for example, again, or have a full ecosystem, or how we can make to stop the extinction species in the world. We are facing the new extinctions crisis in the world. So our foundation is to protect and to make a stop to this crisis, and everyone can do something in their place. We can work from home in promotion the work the other people works, or in knowing the importance of living with nature, not against nature. If not, live all together in the same planet. The humans and the not humans in the same place, we all have the same rights. We are not better than anyone, not a jaguar, not a wolf, not anyone. So we have to learn how to live with all the species, and we can do our part in our place. We can have better places, more beautiful places around us. I learned from the Tompkins and from the people who work with me that beauty is a very strong component for our life. If we have a beautiful place around us with no trash, with no garbage, with no death, we live better. Our energy is better if we are in a beautiful place. So, and a lot of other things, consume less plastics, for example. Well, a lot of things that we know that we can do from home.
Mm-hmm. Marisi, I mean, it's just a joy to listen to you and to see how enthusiastic you are, and just, I mean, the project just sounds absolutely incredible. Is there anything that we've missed? Is there anything else that you'd like to say? Is there anything that you feel that people should know, just as we wind this up?
I think that we talk about everything, and despite my English, and now maybe that people can get more involved with all of these things, with nature, with conservation, because sometimes in the past, people thought that conservation is just for a little circle of conservationist people, of people who work for the ambient. But we have to know that conservation is through all the humanity, all the people in the world. It's not just for one circle. All the people in the world, doing or not conservation, needs the nature to live. So conservation through all the people in all the world, in different scales, in different ways, but we need to learn how to live with the nature, conserving, protecting, loving the nature, enjoying the nature, and in different ways. See, you can live enjoying the nature in your city, in your neighbor, in the place, in the park, And one way to start connecting with nature or loving the nature is going to national parks, going to protected areas and breathe and enjoy the place and say, wow, this is our home. So I want to invite and encourage people to go to their nearest places from his homes. Can be a national park, can be I don't know, green park near their house, and enjoy nature and enjoy the wildlife, enjoy seeing a bird, and that makes a better place, a better world for everyone.
Well, I think that's about the best message that we could hear from you. And I think that's a great place to stop. So thank you so much, Marisi, not only for spending the time, but also for the work that you and the people around you are doing. I just think it's absolutely fantastic. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed a lot the conversation. I am glad that can do it in English. I am not so confident with my English, but I was more confident because I had Maria Cristina helping me. And thank you both of you very much.
And thank you, Maria Cristina too.
Yeah, no problem. That was a fascinating story. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Brave New Women. Certain podcast sites such as Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts or Podchaser let you leave a rating and a review. The more ratings and reviews we get, the more people will listen and the more these women's stories will be shared. So I'd really appreciate it if you could. Thanks for listening.